Friends. I recently watched a movie named Exorcist the Believer. The acting of the kids is amazing. The movie keeps you on your toes throughout the plot. It is a sequel of movie The Exorcist released in 1963. I can't wait for the entire trilogy. Let's move to the movie plot. At the beginning of the movie, we see a couple in Haiti area for their honeymoon. The guy's named is Victor, who was a photographer and was there with his pregnant wife. But the area gets struck by a huge earthquake and his wife gets trapped under a huge concrete. She gets seriously injured and the doctor informs Victor they can either save the child or the mother but not the both. Now Victor has to take a huge decision either to save his wife or his baby. Then the scene shifts. After 13 years we see the daughter of Victor named Angela. Victor really loves Angela. Angela also loves her father but she really misses her mother. She never got to see her mother and always wondered about her. One day she took her mother's scarf with her on her way to school. Victor was about to drop her but Victor takes back his wife's scarf and tells Angela that everything that belonged to her mother is precious. Angela then meets her friend Catherine and they both decide to go inside the forest. Inside the forest they enter into an underground bunker, where they lit candles and placed a pendulum, and it looked like they were performing some ritual. Then scene shifts to the same day at evening. Victor is back from his work but Angela has not returned back home. Victor has always asked Angela to return back to house before 9 p.m. Victor has no idea where his daughter is. So he calls Catherine's parents. Catherine's mother's name is Miranda and father's name is Tony. He also gets the information that Catherine has not reached her home just like Angela. Victor gets anxious. Catherine's mother Miranda and her father Tony and Victor they all go looking for their missing kids inside the forest. They find the underground bunker and there they find Angela's shoes. Tony and Miranda also find Catherine's bag and belongings. Police were also looking for them but no one could find the kids. The parents were worried sick and they start arguing and blaming each other. But somehow they control themselves by reminding themselves that they have a common goal, that is to find their kids. After 3 days at a place about 30 miles from the forest, a random family finds the girls in their barn. They both were taken to the hospital. Their parents were also informed and they too rushed straight to the hospital. The weird thing was Angela says that she had disappeared for some hours but in reality she was gone for almost 3 days. Doctors examined the girls through various methods but the girls seemed fine. And did not have anything wrong with them. They were neither drugged, nor they were assaulted, both seemed fine but their legs had scratch marks. That might be because they walked 30 miles on their bare foot. Both the girls were sent home with their parents but we observed that something about them has now changed. Their behavior were weird. After reaching home Victor asks his daughter Angela to tell him the truth. Angela then says that they both were trying the contact with her mother. They lit candle, they cleared their mind, and used pendulum around. She had to hold something that belonged to her mother but Victor had taken the scarf with him and she had nothing that belonged to her mother. And after that she doesn't remember a thing. She has no idea how she went inside the barn. After telling this Angela becomes tense and serious and asks Victor to leave her alone. She then starts behaving weirdly. Next morning we see she had wetted her own bed. As she was about to take bath the entire water turned black. Many other paranormal activities started happening. Angela attacks Victor and ties her mother's scarf around his head saying she wants her mother back. Angela had injuries all over her hands and legs. Angela was then rushed to the hospital. Catherine was also going through the same thing. Her parents were quite religious. They went to the church as they wanted to thank God for returning their daughter back to them. But Catherine walks in a weird way to the middle of the church in front of the father and tells, "Body in the blood," like she was possessed. Catherine's mother Miranda thinks that this is the act of demonic possession. Just like Jesus, these kids have returned to earth from hell as their legs had burn injuries. She also says that they have demon's shadow over them. But Tony and Victor doesn't believe Miranda. Victor has lost his faith in God after losing his wife so he doesn't believe Miranda. Before his wife's death Victor was very religious. That night we see a nurse named Anne. She was looking after Angela. But suddenly Angela wakes up and calls nurse and by the name of Sister Marie Xavier. She talks about Anne's baby and laughs in a demonic voice. Her bedsheets were covered in blood. After this incident Angela is sent to a mental asylum. Nurse Anne goes to meet Victor. She tells him that whatever is happening with Angela can't be treated by the doctors, and she can only be helped by Chris McNeil as her daughter also had the same condition 50 years back. This is a reference to the first movie The Exorcist where Chris's daughter Regan was possessed. Chris had also written a book based on her experience and Nurse Anne gives the book to Victor. Victor didn't believe her but Nurse Anne reveals that she always wanted to become a nun and was training for it but she got pregnant. And she had to abort the baby. After that she changed her name and started working as a nurse. She also says that no one knows about the abortion and her changed name, not even her family. But yesterday Angela called by her real name Sister Marie Xavier and she was talking about her baby. There was some evil force around Angela. Victor was also taken aback after listening to her. He then starts reading the book. After reading the book he goes to meet the writer Chris McNeil in person. He tells her everything. Chris says that she herself isn't an exorcist, but after her daughter's incident she has researched about all of the exorcism method. She has some valuable knowledge about the exorcism and she believes in paranormal activities. She also says that 50 years back her daughter became normal after the exorcism and she wrote the book, but her daughter Reagan wasn't happy about her writing the book. Reagan never forgave her mother and she just vanished without telling anyone, and still today Chris has no clue about her daughter's whereabouts. They both go to asylum to meet Angela. And Angela immediately recognizes Chris. We can understand that this was the same demon from 50 years back, Pazuzu. They then go to Catherine's house to meet her. Catherine's house was a complete mess. Miranda was terrified of everything and was praying with her 2 other kids. Tony was also crying. Catherine was completely possessed by the demon and she had turned the house into ruins. Victor was consoling the parents and Chris goes inside Catherine's room. Catherine was possessed and talks about Reagan. She says that she knows where Reagan is. She says that Reagan is dead and she is in hell. Chris then starts chanting some words and yells at the demon to leave Catherine alone. Then Catherine jumps on top of Chris and smashed the holy cross inside her eyes and gouges her eyes out. Then Catherine says that now you will never be able to see your daughter. Then Catherine starts having seizures. Victor takes Chris out of the room and now Chris is blind. Then we see a father named Father Maddox who asks the church for the permission to perform exorcism. But they don't allow him. Chris was now feeling better and she tells Victor that people should have faith in God and have respect and belief in each other. This convinced Victor to perform exorcism. He also decides to take help from his friend named Beehive who follows some African culture. She was a healer. Exorcism ritual were conducted in the presence of Miranda, Tony, Victor, and Nurse Ann, Tony's local church father. Nurse Ann decides to perform the exorcism as she had knowledge about the rituals, and they place both the girls in 2 chairs that were drilled to the floor with the back facing each other. Then Beehive draws circle and symbols with chalk on the ground. Girls were tied to the chair. Father Maddox also comes to the house, but he was forbidden to perform exorcism from the church. They see that the heartbeat of both the girl were in sync. They all wear protection necklace. Then they start exorcism. Nurse Ann starts chanting the Bible words, then we see both the girls smiling. The entire house starts shaking. Both the girls start behaving weirdly. They try to divert Nurse Ann's attention by telling her about her abortion. Offending things to the others people as well. But the people participating in the rituals were aware that they should not touch the girls. Nurse Ann sprinkles some liquid onto the girls that causes them to burn and vapor starts evaporating from their skin. Victor takes infected bowl of water to throw it at the back of his house. There he sees Father Maddox who was praying inside his car. Victor tells him that the war with devil is being conducted inside the house and not on the driveway. Then we see that the next step of exorcism was commencing that was more gruesome than the first step. The holy cross that the Nurse Ann was holding started getting hot on its own and it burned Nurse Ann's finger. Then the demon Pazuzu inside Angela reveals a big secret. 13 years ago when Victor had to choose between his wife and his child, he chose his wife, but they couldn't save her and doctor had to tear open his wife's body to retrieve the baby. Demon-possessed Angela yells at Victor, "You have always wanted to kill me." Victor becomes really sad after hearing those words. Demon Pazuzu puts forward an ultimatum that only one girl will be spared. They can only save one girl, either Angela or Catherine. They have to choose between them. If they didn't choose, then both the girls will die. They had a mutual pact that they will not take a single girl's name. It was a conspiracy of the demon. Everyone inside the house were losing their hope and were deciding to give up. Then we see Father Maddox. After seeing him, everyone see a ray of hope. Father Maddox touches Angela and Catherine and starts chanting words. He tells the demon to leave the girl's body. But he had already done a mistake of touching the girl's body. Demon then overpowers Father Maddox and bends his head 180 degrees. Guys, the scene was really scary. I got goosebumps all over. Then Father Maddox dies. The entire room trembles and girls demon Eve laugh. Victor then takes out his wife's scarf and wraps it around his daughter. He says that I should not have taken the scarf from you, please take the scarf back and please be normal and fight over the demon. Angela starts returning somewhat to her normal state, but Catherine was still possessed. She says, I don't want to die. Now what will happen to me? Everyone was lost of hope. Then Tony says that I chose my daughter Catherine. Angela attacks on her father and her heart beats increase out, her body starts levitating. She vomits a lots of blood and we can see that her heart was not beating as the machine shows a flat line. Angela was dead. Catherine was turning back normal. Then Victor holds his daughter and cries. But wait, here comes the actual twist. We get to see Catherine inside the bunker. Maybe it was inside her head. She hears Devil say, I choose you just like your father. Devil now wants her. We can clearly understand that Devil was playing a nasty game with them. The devil would have surely killed their choice. He would never fulfilled their wish. And Catherine falls dead. Angela gets her senses back. Everyone now understands that Catherine is dead and Angela is alive. Police comes to the scene and takes Father Maddoxy and Catherine's body with them. Then we see time skipped a few days after the day Victor and Angela are now in good terms, but Tony and Miranda are still shattered by their daughter's death and are trying to cope up with their loss. Then we see Nurse and giving lecture about the devil. Devil wants us to give up, but we must have faith in God. Then at the end of the movie we see Chris and we see someone approaching her. It was her daughter Reagan. And the movie ends. This movie was really good, but I still prefer the 1973 The Exorcist. It was a cult classic. Thank you for watching, and if you like such videos don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See ya.